Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show. Appreciate you joining us. And I enjoyed catching up with my friend Clay Williams from the Gulfport Biloxi International Airport Authority. They're doing great work there. And, they're having a lot of success and volume's doing well. New carriers coming in. It's exciting and it creates more options for us as coastal Mississippi travelers and creates a dilemma for us when we have the choice between New Orleans or Mobile and Mississippi Gulf Coast, and I hope you choose the Mississippi Gulf Coast every time. That's my advice. Hey, I want to read these three statements or quotes that I read at the beginning of the show because they're going to kind of bleed right into this next conversation we're going to have. But let me read it again. This is from Hope Shot, and this is what it said. Most people miss their opportunity because sometimes it comes disguised as a problem. There's a lot of learning that comes from adversity. That is for sure. The next one, let's see. Hang on one second. There are 8 billion people in the world. Don't let the opinion of one person hold you back from your greatness. You're better than that. We tend to focus too much on that one negative person and not on the other 99 that surround us that are not that way. And then the last one that I think really fits well, too, I think we could all learn from this one. Sit me at the table where they are talking about self-growth, spirituality, healing, and goals, not other people. Isn't that good? That also came from Hope Shot. Speaking of hope, someone that we talk a lot about hope with is my friend Paige Roberts, the president and CEO of the Jackson County Chamber. And it's a pleasure to have her come back and join me. We just participated in the Singing River Health Symposium. It's a mental health symposium, but we're going to talk to you more. It's not just that. It's about mental wellness. Let's put it that way. But it was a terrific event, extraordinarily well done by Singing River. And I had the opportunity for at least portion of that session to sit with Paige. So, Paige, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, and I'll take being associated with the word hope every day.
Well, whether it's hope in the business community or hope in the community building area or hope in the mental wellness of the community. But it was first of all, my kudos goes out to Singing River Health Systems. That it was held at Hard Rock. And the collaboration between Hard Rock and Singing River, that's probably one of the best events like that I've ever been to. The way they set the stage up, the way they did the video monitoring, the way they had the food set up, the way they made it really, really pleasant for the speakers. It just was, they knocked it out of the park. And the content was extraordinary on top of that.
And let me tell you, I agree with all of that. And the detail they paid attention to. So on my wrist, for those who are watching through Facebook and for those in radio land, I have this little gold beaded bracelet that everyone was handed at the end as they walked out, a little pink bag, and in it was a word bracelet, and my word is grateful. And I'm so grateful that my word was grateful. I've worn it every day since. I was in a yoga class last month where the yoga teacher passed out a little round notebook for us to write something every day for which we were grateful or thankful. And I think most of what I have read about techniques to help with depression is a list of gratitude. And for what are we thankful? The little things, the big things, and everywhere in between. But it is impossible for the brain to experience gratitude and depression at the very same time. Yeah. So practice gratitude.
Practice gratitude. Listen, I had to. I was able to stay through Emma's speech and then the panel afterwards. So I almost made it through the whole thing. I had another lunch appointment that I had to go to, so I didn't get my pink bag. I'm going to have to tell the folks at Singing River to give me my pink bag so I can get that bracelet. I'd love to know what my word is. But you know what? It was just really well done. And I looked at that first panel group, and 5 of the 7 people on that stage had been on my show before. and they all did such an extraordinary job. I thought that Angel did just a terrific job as sort of the moderator of the event. I don't want to go through all the names. It was good to have a special conversation with Dr. MJ off to the side. He was everything I expected him to be. I described him as being an empathetic pediatrician, and clearly in person I saw that. I mean, he gave me a big hug, and we chatted and shared stories with one another. But they were all good, though, Paige.
Yes. And what I think the common thread among them was authenticity. And that was a key theme of what they're trying to get across in really kind of creating what they're calling the mental health era. I think it's a play off of Taylor Swift's Eras tour, because it's all of Taylor's different eras. And I think, knowing this team, I strongly suspect that. And I think that this era of mental health is a great concept to easily grasp. From the bracelets to the flowers they handed out at the end that had little affirmations, you are loved, you can do it. Affirmations are a big deal. But each of those 7 presenters brought to the table their own experience, whether Dr. Ridgway is an actual psychiatrist, Ashley Pearson as a licensed social worker, or Dr. MJ, as you mentioned, as a pediatrician, with Angel, a district attorney and grieving mother, in the middle of it all, tying them all together. There was just a genuine humanity about it all. And that is what tends to lead everyone else to feel more open. And as Emma describes, authentic conversations in safe spaces.
Yeah.
So key. Authentic conversations in safe spaces.
So Emma Benoit, who's been on the show, we've talked about her many times. She is a suicide attempt survivor. Not only does she get a serious spinal cord injury, but she also had a carotid artery injury that deprived her brain of some oxygen for a period of time. So she had some significant challenges. And to see her in person, we've obviously talked on the show and exchanged notes, but to see her in person, to see how she radiates hope is so. I felt like I was hugging a daughter. That's what I felt like. I felt like somebody, I was just so proud of her, got to meet her wonderful boyfriend, and to see.
Fiance now.
Yes. Fiance for sure. Yes. And you know what I hadn't, this is the first time, and you knew that I was going to be touched by it, but this is the first time I've actually seen her speak, and to tell her whole story, the details that she talks about, the details of how her own pressure on herself manifested itself, and how each stage of her life, more complexity got stacked on, and this need to develop this perfect facade, and the role that social media played in that. On every dimension of her story, there's something for everyone to attach to. That's one of the things that makes her story so darn powerful, Paige.
Oh, yes. You used the word radiate. I was going to use glow. Same thing. And when you said hugging her was like a daughter, I see, yes. But I also consider her like the human embodiment of a ray of sunshine intertwined with wisdom somehow. But even before social media, which I consider myself a child of the 80s. I turned 10 in 1980, 20 in 1990. So there wasn't social media yet. And yet my thought process mirrors identically to hers when she said, I would get a bad grade and I would think, oh, I got a bad grade on this test, so I'll get a bad grade on the exam, so I won't get a good grade in this class, so I won't get into the college of my choice, so I won't be able to become anything worth becoming, and then I won't be a useful or valuable human being. Like all the way down the road until your self-worth has tanked.
Yeah.
And it is the false narrative in our own minds and our own voices before even the social media. Yes, that exacerbates it, but it is things going on in our own minds that can lead to a spiral.
What was amazing, and we'll pick it up on the other side, what was amazing is her ability to connect that spiraling aspect of her that you just described to the perfect projection she was trying to create. So the gap between what people saw and what really existed, how that vast chasm existed that ultimately led to her suicide attempt. It's just an incredible story, and one that I know touches a lot of people. It certainly touches me, and she will make a difference. It's going to be amazing. We'll pick it up from there as we continue our conversation with Paige Roberts from the Jackson County Chamber on the other side. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. We're talking to my friend Paige Roberts, who's the president and CEO of the Jackson County Chamber, and who, with me and others, are trying to bring a lot more attention to the focus on the need to not turn our backs around mental health wellness. You know, we need to be focused more on that. And of course, the tough subject that we've embarked on many times on this show, and that is teen suicide. I know that SuperTalk is committed now to bringing tremendous attention to it. And, you know, whether I'm talking to Shannon or Lauren or anyone else from Singing River, they're all committed to this stuff. They are really, really committed to it. You know, Shannon said, man, we got to talk more about Hope Squad. I said, man, we've talked about it. We're going to talk more about it. But the Hope Squad is important. I mean, what's emanating from our conversations with Emma are some on-the-ground things that can be deployed as we speak that could potentially save lives. And we got to be focused on that, don't we?
Oh, hyper-focused. Our 4 school superintendents from Jackson County, as I've mentioned on your show before, went to Florida, witnessed a Hope Squad, came back. They're now in the process of signing contracts with Hope Squad so that we can implement it at the middle schools and the high schools across the 4 school districts, which would then be 7 middle and 7 high school. So even this spring, they will be choosing the employees who will be the sponsors of the Hope Squad and training the students, picking them, because that's a whole process, and then training them to be next year's Hope Squad, which by next year, some of our schools in Jackson County begin in late July. So in just months, we are going to start the ball rolling for Hope Squad, which essentially creates a culture of inclusivity and kindness. Because if you have a culture, a school-wide culture of inclusivity and kindness, then how could you possibly then have the students that are feeling so badly and worthless without knowing it? And it's something that we're looking into also at Jackson County Chamber for our Summer Learning Summit, Ricky, in June. Emma mentioned several groups that do a workplace training, which sounded to me like forming a little bit of a Hope Squad within workplaces. And I thought, oh, that's great. So we're looking into what that might look like, because these students in the Hope Squad will be trained on what to listen for and when to get help. They're not trained as little mini psychologists or counselors. There's no onus or pressure on them, but just simply when you see someone sitting by themselves, wherever it may be, the cafeteria or elsewhere, how to approach them, how to figure out, do you join them or do they really just want to be alone? What to listen for, to know when to get an adult. Adults need this kind of training as well. So we're looking into how do we make that happen in workplaces so that it's more natural. I wanted to say to Ricky, that one of the great things about this Mental Health Era Summit we attended with Singing River Health System is that they really communicated to the audience that it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to feel. It's okay to ask. It's okay. It's okay. There's not going to be, there's this great judgment. And if there is, move on. I mean, even Jesus said, shake the dust off your sandals and keep on going. It's okay. And I think that's a big part of the message.
Yeah, this realization, as we have said many times here, but we should say it many more times, is that everyone is going through something. And you should not assume that you know, because you don't know. And you're right, man. Adults need this as much as the kids need it. My daughter is a teacher. She taught 7th grade for a number of years, and then 6th grade for a number of years. Now she teaches 3rd grade. But what's interesting about her tenure as a teacher is that social media has really come to full fruition. And what's shocking in talking to her is how young some of the kids are now that are being given phones. And if there was a major statement that was made by the panel, it has been the role. It's not just social media too, by the way. It's phone, because see, kids are able to set up groups. And so maybe we have a group of 6, but we only have a group of 5, and we're going to talk about the 6th member through text. The pain and agony that causes, and because Emma was a small statured young girl, she talks about how young she was impacted by some of that ribbing that she got, and it really carried with her the rest of her life. Well, we don't have time to continue it now, but listen, this is just the beginning or the continuation of a conversation we will not let up on, and SuperTalk is going to be all in on this statewide before it's over with. Paige, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend.
Always.
You bet. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.